Hey guys, Dimension Master Studios here. How y'all doing? So, this is a remake of a video that I made a little while back on my channel, specifically when I first started my channel, and I wanted to make this video honestly because of what Crystallize did. And if you've seen my multi-part review of this season, then you know exactly why I'm making this video. Plus, also, after being pretty negative in some of my previous videos, I wanted to do something positive, so I decided talking about one of my favorite Ninjago seasons would honestly be a good way to do that. And so that's what I'm doing with this video. So, I'm sure as you guys know, during 2019, we got 2 seasons when it comes to Ninjago, with that obviously being March the Yoni and Secrets of the Forbidden Spinjitzu. However, when it comes to season 11, this season was really interesting because it technically gave us 2 seasons when you think about it. The Fire Chapter and the Ice Chapter. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, when it comes to the Ice Chapter, I think that this season is legitimately super underrated and is honestly an absolutely amazing season. And it's honestly my favorite season in the entirety of the show. There are so many amazing things about this season that I wanted to go over in today's video. So let's get into this whole thing. So for starters, when it comes to the Ice Chapter, I just really like the episodes and music that we get all throughout the season. When it comes to the music, I feel like the songs that we get during the season are legitimately really good, and they're able to make you feel just a variety of different things while you're actually watching the season. It can make you go from feeling really happy or sad to angry and just a lot of different stuff going on when it comes to music. Plus, I also like some of the stuff they end up doing when it comes to the music choices during the season, creating these different feelings. Again, like I said earlier, especially with some tracks in particular. Mainly when it comes to some of the stuff that involves Zane as the Ice Emperor, and also Akita's theme, which I feel is genuinely an amazing song and is absolutely one of the best songs in the entirety of Ninjago. Seriously, that track is absolutely beautiful. And when it comes to the episodes, all throughout the Ice Chapter, it has absolutely incredible episodes, and I honestly think that this is one of the few Ninjago seasons where there isn't a bad episode actually. All the episodes in some way or another have something really great about them. Episodes like Firemaker, Crag's Lament, The Traveler's Tree, and just basically any episode that has Akita in it. These episodes, they are just absolutely amazing and phenomenal all throughout. That honestly, when it comes to this season, it's harder to pick out my least favorite episode compared to my favorite episode, honestly, because of how many good episodes there are during this season. I'm not counting the absolute worst or the Kaiju Protocol because those are really more Fire Chapter episodes. So it's mainly the 13 Ice Chapter episodes, but again, these are all absolutely amazing, I think. Another thing that I really like when it comes to the Ice Chapter is honestly the Neverrealm itself. The Neverrealm, I feel, is a realm that has a lot of potential when it comes to the world of Ninjago, actually. For example, we see this one side of the Neverrealm during the actual season, this side of the eternal winter caused by the Ice Emperor, but we know that there's actually a few more sides to this realm. Specifically, during the episode Last of the Formlings, Akita says that before the Eternal Winter, the realm was lush and green, meaning that there's an entire other side to this realm that we've never seen before. But we also know from marketing related stuff that when the first Ninjitsu Master first came to this realm, he barely made it out alive, which suggests that there's another even more dangerous side to this realm that we haven't seen before, which I think is something very interesting, and if we ever get a chance to see this realm in Ninjago, I would really like to see one of these two sides, honestly. It can provide something pretty unique when it comes to this realm, actually, and just something that we haven't really seen before when it comes to Ninjago. That could be cool. Another thing that I really like when it comes to the seasons is the ninja stories. All the ninja during this season, with the exception of Jay, get some kind of major storyline that in some way plays some kind of role in the overall plot of the season, which is something that's awesome, I think. When it comes to Kai, it builds on stuff from his Powerless arc in the Fire chapter, where during this season, Kai's doing what he can in order to try and get his powers back, which leads into some really great moments, like the fishing village getting frozen and Kai having to deal with all this, and him eventually being able to take down Boreal by tapping into his powers. There's Cole's storyline of him trying to get Traveler's Teeth so that way he can get the ninja back to Ninjago, which creates some really great moments and some doubt for Cole, as well as also some great moments that involve Crag. There's Zane as the Ice Emperor and the whole storyline of him just being this major threat that the ninja have to defeat, while at the same time Zane's trying to get back to the way he was, which I think is something very interesting, especially since This is the first time we have a major villain in the season be a ninja, which is awesome. We also have Nia's storyline with her learning to control snow and ice, which I think is a really cool aspect for them to do when it comes to Nia during the season, especially when it comes to her powers. And I genuinely think that this power storyline is actually a better power storyline than what we got with Nia's powers during Seabound, actually, but hey, that's just me. And then there's Lloyd, and that's actually my next positive that I have when it comes to this season. I think that Lloyd during the Ice chapter is absolutely phenomenal during this season. Because when it comes to Lloyd, this season does two really interesting things when it comes to his character. The first thing that this season does is it actually concludes Lloyd's arc of him having trust issues, which started all the way back during season 8. Because during that season, Lloyd obviously gained trust issues as a result of Harumi betraying him and breaking his heart. And this season is able to put a close to that, with Lloyd overcoming his trust issues by meeting with and traveling with Akita during the events of the Ice chapter. But it's not just that, Lloyd is also able to help Akita overcome her own trust issues, which is a really cool inclusion for them to do when it comes to the storyline, and is really great when it comes to Lloyd's character. But something else good that this season does when it comes to Lloyd's character is it actually starts him off on a brand new arc, with that arc being him finally getting over Harumi and moving on from her after all this time. Just that I think is a really cool thing for them to do, and it's continued all throughout the events of the Wild Brain era of the show. In fact, I even made an entire video going over Lloyd's story arc pre-crystallized and talking about how amazing this storyline is for Lloyd, and I honestly think this storyline is genuinely the best storyline any of the ninja have ever gotten when it comes to the show. Granted, I didn't like what Crystallized did when it came to this storyline, but by and large, again, this storyline is absolutely amazing for what they do with Lloyd during the show. Finally, the last and one of the biggest reasons why I really like this season is the characters. Honestly, for a while when it came to Ninjago, I feel like when it comes to the new characters, overall they really weren't that great, honestly. Like, there were some characters who were good here or there, honestly, during the Oni trilogy, like Faith and Mr. E, and Kilo has honestly been growing on me. But I'd honestly say that probably since Skybound, there wasn't any character who we got who I thought was just overall a really good or amazing character for me personally, honestly. But when it came to the Ice chapter, we got some really good new characters during the season. Like, for example, there's Kataru, and he's there, and he, I think, is overall pretty good. He's not a great character, but he's solid, honestly. There's Crag, who I think is absolutely hilarious, and I like the fact that when it comes to Crag, he's a character who doesn't speak, so a lot of his comedy is a lot more physical stuff, and I think that can definitely be pretty good. And the thing between him and Cole is honestly something really great to see, seeing the two of them just become friends. That's nice. I honestly think that Sorla is a much better mentor than Mistake ever was, honestly, just by a long shot. When it comes to the Ice Emperor, I initially had some problems with him, considering I didn't like the idea of Zane getting his memory wipes in order to actually become the Ice Emperor. But over time, the Ice Emperor has also been growing on me, and I've been having my mind change when it comes to this guy. And I think that overall, he's actually a really good character, honestly, for how they handle stuff. There's also Vex, who I think is genuinely one of the best villains in all of Ninjago. This guy is such a great and underrated character, honestly, for how he's the true main antagonist of the Ice chapter and how he manipulates Zane to becoming the Ice Emperor in order to get what he wants. Plus, not to mention his backstory and connection to the heroes is something really good, and I honestly think his punishment with him getting banished by the end of the season is actually a really great way for them to end his storyline. It is so cool, honestly. And then there's Akita, who is genuinely one of my favorite characters in all of Ninjago. I think that Akita has an absolutely amazing backstory, and I genuinely think she has the darkest and most tragic backstory of any character in all of Ninjago, actually. I think her character development that she gets throughout the season is absolutely incredible, honestly. I think that her voice actress does an absolutely amazing job. I really love her theme music, like I said earlier. Her backstory / focus episode, Last of the Fourblings, is genuinely my favorite Wild Brain episode we have ever gotten. Seriously, that episode is just so amazing. And her bond and dynamic with Lloyd, I think, is absolutely amazing. Seeing these two bond and become closer over the events of the season, allowing the two of them to just, again, become closer, as well as also help the other one overcome their trust issues, that is just so amazing to see. And I think the ending shot with the two of them by the end of the season, that is a really great way for them to show the culmination of their character development over the events of the season. And yes, I do ship Lloyd and Akita together. And honestly, I do think that these two are the best couple in all of Ninjago because of how great their dynamic is during the events of the Ice Chapter and how close the two of them became during the season. I think it's absolutely amazing. And I also like the fact that when it comes to Akita, she played a big part when it came to the starting point for Lloyd's character development that we saw throughout the Wild Brain era of the show. Again, that is amazing. And when it comes to Akita, it's also an interesting thing when it comes to her because this is something I never thought would ever happen. But at this point, Akita is basically tied for being my favorite Ninjago character of all time. Tied with Zane, who has been my favorite character in Ninjago since day one when I got my first ever Ninjago set back in 2011. Just, again, I never thought there would be any character in Ninjago who could get close to or be at the same level of my favorite character as Zane. But hey, this season was able to prove me wrong, and honestly, I'm actually kind of glad about that. It's because, again, I just think that Akita is an absolutely amazing character, honestly. And I do really hope that at some point in the future, we do get a chance to see her again. That would just be absolutely amazing. And so, yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you guys. Like I said towards the beginning of this whole thing, the Ice Chapter I feel is the most underrated season in all of Ninjago, and the season overall I think is genuinely amazing. This is unironically my favorite season in all of Ninjago. I think that it is so good. And it honestly makes me really happy to know that in recent years, a lot of fans have actually been changing their mind when it comes to Season 11. And they've been more open to the idea of this being a good season. And it's led a lot of people to say that Season 11 is actually good. And I'm really glad about that because it's able to allow the Ice Chapter to get more fans, actually. And again, since this season is my favorite, again, that sort of thing just makes me really happy. Because for me, it's just nice to see that more people are realizing how good this season is, and they're able to see all the positives of this season. Even if it is from Season 11, a season that overall I think is actually pretty good. And so that's pretty much all I got for you guys. So tell me down below, what do you guys think? What are your guys' thoughts when it comes to the Ice Chapter, and what do you think the most underrated Ninjago season is? Tell me down below, and I hope you guys enjoy. Later, guys, this is Dimension Master Studios, signing off.